call this meeting of the Baldwin City Council together. If everyone will please stand for the invocation and pledge. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, God. We thank you for your goodness, Father. We just thank you for all the blessings that you have given us. God, we ask that you continue that into our city, into this council, into our world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For everyone to be aware, Council Member Armando is on the phone with us tonight, so she is in present with the meeting. Next item on our agenda is the state of the city, and I failed to bring my own version. Do you have a version of that with you?
I don't think that I brought one. I don't. But I can give you this one.
Okay, it's my fault for not bringing the printed version.
I can start singing for us if you like.
Excuse me. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
has the state of the city been distributed to the council and to the press?
We'll go to press after I read it tonight.
Okay. Did the council get copies?
Not sure, Ms. Woodmaster, could you answer that question?
I have not.
The council has not had a copy of it. Would you like for me to forego reading it until you have an opportunity to review it?
No. I was gonna read along if somebody could send it electronically.
Ms. Woodmaster, could you handle that?
Sure.
Ms. Woodmaster will send it your way soon, and those council members that are here, maybe we can get a printed copy for them at some point. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. It's a good read, and since I read so slow, this will give us a 20 minutes of our economic discussion. Will seem like a short moment.
That's perfectly fine.
This has been an incredible year for the city of Baldwin, and that's why this is such an important document to put out there to let the public understand, to help us remember everything that was succeeded, if that's the right word. We were successful in getting done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was a great year. It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. I would like to begin by saying the state of the city is strong, and our city is very strong at this time. In 2022, the city of Baldwin shifted away from a culture of make and do. Instead, informed decisions for 21st century success were based on market research and quantitative data. We began to choose to shape our city and the style of personal policies that work best for growing a dynamic city, one that employs certified professionals in their field and pays them accordingly. While we haven't achieved all our dreams, 2022 saw the city move steadfastly and certainly into the right direction. Surrounded by other municipalities in Hall, Habersham, and Banks counties, growing with innovation and technology, Baldwin has come to understand the power of its geographic location, strong leadership, and clarity of vision for economic development. In 2022, the City Council and administrative staff recommitted their leadership efforts to the city personnel, its residents, and business owners through intentional planning and infrastructural renewal, community building events, and strong budget management. Our dedicated employees continue to be the outward face of the city who daily represent Baldwin's values to its residents, visitors, and business owners. Baldwin's employees work and train hard. All city department employees certified professionals. This adds value for those folks interacting with and wishing to move into the city of Baldwin. The council has committed to offering livable wages and good benefits to make Baldwin an attractive place to work and live. Consequently, I am sure the city of Baldwin staff is without peer, and I can't thank them enough for their hard work and dedication. Also would like to thank our city council for their continued leadership and advocacy for citizens and employees alike. In addition to regularly scheduled council meetings and work sessions, the members of the city council dedicate their time and talents to additional committees, projects, and events. This year, the events committee, the water group, and the loss negotiation team were particularly active on behalf of the city residents and business owners in both Habersham and Banks County. As always, the council and city staff work to provide excellent service to you. Feel free to join us at meetings and to reach out to me and department heads for information and with questions. And as always, we encourage you to join committees and run for office. Now let's take a moment to celebrate some of our 2022 accomplishments. These are some of the highlights. We celebrated our 126th birthday on December the 17th. We look just like 16. Added an administrative assistant position to serve the CAO. Thank you, Ms. Aaron.
Yes.
Swore in Chris Jones as the new chief of police. Chief, we appreciate you being here, and no doubt a nice addition to our staff.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hired additional police officers and firefighters. Hopefully, we've given y'all support staff, and y'all are able to fulfill your obligations and your commitments to our citizens and business owners. Thank y'all. Updated security procedures for municipal court. Miss Susan's not here, but she was an instrumental part of that. Completed and cleaned audit for fiscal year 21. 100% falls on this Woodmaster. Thank you for that.
Speaking of, FY22 is almost complete.
Very good, yes.
Passed the balanced budget. Again, Ms. Woodmaster, council, department heads, what a chore that is, and thank y'all for that. Maintain certified city status with DCA. That is a relief.
Yeah.
DCA is why we get the grants that we do occasionally get, including LMIG, which is so instrumental in making sure our roads maintain their viability. Continued membership and partnership Habersham and the Habersham Historical Society. Significant events. Restored the 1950s flashing caution light on Willingham Avenue. That is a piece of art, and that is due to Mr. Llewellyn's commitment. What a great repurposing of a piece in our city. We paved Chandler Heights subdivision. I want to tell you, I've been on council for a long time. That project was so nice to get completed.
Yeah.
Dr. Armando, I hope you enjoyed driving into your home each evening now.
It is lovely, thank you, Mayor.
Yes. And another one of those long ones, the constructed Light Street water tank behind City Hall,
Yes.
also began in my first term as council member.
Wow.
Seeing these things complete is really nice. Completed the J. Warren Road water transmission line project. That one was a short term, but an invaluable addition to our infrastructure. So glad that was completed this year. Completed firefighter training facility and hosted Firefighter 2 course. Man, thank you all that speed through the school zone.
For your blessing.
Maybe that was inappropriate.
No,
For the
it's
record,
not.
it's not on the media version.
Nope.
But it is a great facility. Glad we have it.
Yeah. Brings a lot of value
It sure does.
to our, not just our community, but many agencies around us, that are surround us, that get to benefit from that and the training from it. Very important.
Hosted the annual Baldwin Elementary School art contest for the city's Cleanup Day t-shirt, coinciding with Earth Day in April. Those kids do an awesome job, and that was great art. Glad I didn't have to choose that, so thank you those that voted on that. Man, that was a hard decision. Saw an overwhelming turnout to our fall festival with 34 vendors, half of whom were minority-owned businesses and one nonprofit agency, live music, food trucks, fun run, Jeep crawl, new games, movie in the park, and firework display.
Yeah.
And this event was free for the public due to the generosity of our event sponsors. We do appreciate those sponsors. What a great event. Man, does that tell everybody what Carroll was about. That was a fun day all
It
day.
was, yeah.
Gifted 82 fruit baskets to our local nursing home residents with Christmas cards written by our city's young people. Thank y'all for serving those folks. Thank y'all for those that bought the raffle tickets to give us the revenue, and tying in the kids from the Christmas tree lighting and those Christmas cards. I wasn't there when y'all delivered those, but I bet those residents loved getting those cards.
Yeah, they did. Probably a lot
Provided-
of tears to them.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you so. Provided 16 children with Christmas presents through the Shop with a Hero. Again, just amazing what y'all do. Your love for the community. I'm certain that Mr. Llewellyn's involved in that event yet again. I know y'all get a lot of joy out of that, but those families really did a lot out of that. Held our annual holiday tree lighting where children took pictures with Santa. The evening again featured a holiday music concert performed by Baldwin Elementary School students. Great talented young folks. Was a joy to listen to them. Hosted the annual Habersham County Christmas Parade and provided over 400 free meals to all community attendees thanks to the generous sponsors. Again, man, the companies are just outpoured to help us provide a fun time for everybody. I know that you and Commissioner Mealer and others worked really hard to serve 400 meals.
I haven't thrown that many hamburgers in a long, it's been a long time, and I had a blast doing it.
I bet you did.
Yeah, and Commissioner Miller was there.
I was on the other end at the time, so
Yeah.
I didn't even get to enjoy one of them.
I had to throw- oh, yeah.
I was walking through the mud at the Hillville.
Yes.
Dedicated the officer Edgar Flores Memorial Monument in the new downtown park to honor the memory of a Baldwin resident killed in the line of duty. What a sovereign and amazing tribute that was. It was difficult to have to be involved in the logistics of it, but so glad that we were able to do that. Formalized a new sewer agreement with Fieldale and the new wholesale water agreement with Demorest. I don't even want to get into details, but I can assure the city of Baldwin, the water customers, and everyone else that has any affiliation, that was big.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's behind us.
And I can't say much enough about how the municipalities and the county have really been working well with one another, and it shows the difference in the relationships as to how it has been in the past. So, yeah.
Negotiated roads and bridges swaps with Habersham and Banks County. Negotiated a new lost agreement with Banks County.
Big.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't go as difficult as it could have, or as it did 10 years ago.
Yes.
But thanks to the Banks County commissioners and the members of the other cities that were there, that we were able to get that solidified for everyone. So by the numbers, added over 15.5 million to our city tax digest, installed 109, or issued 109 building permits with 25 homes newly constructed, issued over 141 occupational licenses, annexed over 5 acres and zoned for highway business, approved the construction of the first liquor store in the city, a new gas station, and a daycare on Highway 365. So yeah, there's a little bit of growth coming out that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completed 2 council retreats dedicated to vision casting, discussion of capital improvements, employee retention and economic development. Received second round of ARPA funds of $637,456 and committed funds to the new E911 radio system and solids handling building. Approved and completed the Ivory Drive, Church Street, and Lenore Lane paving through Banks County T-Splosh. Yes. Authorized the use of public safety funds for over $160,000 in improvements to our police and fire departments. I won't thank those same people again, but it's the same people that.
Yeah.
Put down $10,000 as seed money for the purchase of a fire truck and committed 25% of public safety funds to this effort, saving over $25,000 in 6 months. Authorized the use of system connection fees for a $195,000 SCADA system upgrade and $75,000 upgrade of water treatment plant's original 1987 grates and screens and committed $100,000 toward the new solids handling building.
Yeah.
And it just goes on, and it's good stuff, so I got it.
Yeah, please, these are all great.
Renewed an agreement with the 9th District Opportunity for Water Bill Assistance. Purchased new fire department quick response vehicle. That's a big deal too. That's an important piece of equipment that we have needed for a while. Just glad to get that into service. Leased new PD vehicles and upgraded body cameras and tasers. Again, man, those police vehicles, I can't wait till you're all in those new vehicles. I know that's gotta be much more comfortable and much more appropriate for what y'all do on a daily
Sure
basis.
are.
Yeah.
How far are we away from getting them all finished?
Very close. All, the last one, got the standard outfit in our lockers come in this week, so we're getting our rifle lockers in the back, so.
Great.
Very good. They look awesome, by the way. Maintain water and sewer infrastructure. Recognitions. Recognized council member Dr. Stephanie Almano for earning the Certificate of Distinction, 120 hours of training through GMA and the Howard Holtz Institute of UGA. Before I even go any further than this, did y'all hear me? 120 hours of
Yeah.
training. And for the record, she self-funded.
Yes.
I believe all that, or most of that.
Almost all of it, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Almano. Your commitment raises the bar for all of us. And she did get appointed by GMA to the statewide equity and inclusion advisory. Thank you, my bad, advisory council. Very bad place to mess up a word. I'm so sorry, we did not mean any disrespect with that. Recognized Chief Administrative Officer and City Clerk Emily Woodmaster as a certified city clerk through the UGA Carl Vinson Institute of Government. Yes, ma'am. And she's moving on, getting a next level certification for city manager, and that will be coming pretty soon, right?
In May.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, the city is committed to training and having the best available, and you can see it through these types of achievements. Miguel became a certified water operator class 3. That is a big deal.
That's huge.
Right at the end of the year.
Yes.
Came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Miguel. I know you're watching
Yeah.
this. It's the best TV
Yeah.
there is, but congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you for sticking it out.
Yeah.
Recognized Staff Employee of the Year, voted by their department peers. Public Works was Joey Thompson. Police Department was Danette Wilbanks. Fire Department was Michael Craig. Y'all have great departments, and I know that's voted amongst their peers, so that's a huge honor for these folks. All right. Last 2 paragraphs. These changes to the city's actual footprint and completion of projects and purchases will serve us all well as we intentionally develop the city's infrastructure to accommodate growth both that we've chosen and that will choose us over the next 5 to 10 years due in part to Hall County's economic development pushing north into Habersham County. Baldwin is working proactively, not reactively, to the shifts in Georgia business growth away from the metro area and into what was the 19th and 20th century's agricultural belt. Land is being gobbled up, but the 2020 approval of Baldwin's minimum development standards, the 2022 awareness of significance of cities' water and wastewater systems as linchpins for growth, and the 2023 focus on economic development will make Baldwin a strong economic player well into the 21st century. As always, we welcome your feedback and participation in our decision-making on your behalf. Please join us at meetings and reach out with any comments or questions. So I'm sorry y'all had to digest my slow reading, but when this was presented to me, there was no way for me to quote cherry pick this. Every bit in here was just too important to not get out as written. Thank you for helping us with that.
Thank you, Mayor. You
So-
know, it's really interesting to look forward and you see all of the things that you have to do, and it can be a little discouraging. In fact, it can be very discouraging when every year you look over your shoulder and you see what it is that you accomplished. I got goosebumps everywhere. It's amazing. And I'm always I have several opportunities that I get to talk about what it is that we do here at the city, and I'm always my chest is very full of pride when I get to talk about all the things that we do. So thank you for everyone and all their hard work that allows me to go and brag, because you know I love to brag. So you guys are great. That's a lot of accomplishments. A lot.
And we're gonna double that this year.
Yeah.
Sure can try.
The good news is many of the things we accomplished have put us on better footing so that this year we still have plenty to do. But
Yeah.
This year will be a little bit easier. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. The next item on our agenda is the economic development discussion. This is a maximum of 20 minutes, and Ms. Whitmaster is going to lead us in a thought-provoking conversation which will create envy on the Planet Mars.
Yes.
Good
That's great. Good evening.
No, it's not a big.
I will engage in the conversation. All right, back at our November fall retreat, one of the commitments that you as the city council committed to was discussing potential economic development ideas, things that we're concerned about, things that might have come up in the community that you just want to put out there. But we wanted to commit 20 minutes at our work sessions, which we'll have another conversation in a couple of weeks. This one got pushed out. But the intention here is that we continue to focus on economic development. That is what you want to be committed to, so we want to give you that space to have that conversation with one another, and hopefully we can take some action as a result of that. As you all know, we ended our council retreat with a couple of strategic planning items that we said that we were going to get done in a certain time frame. So some things was 6 months, some things was 3 years. It did vary. And the first thing that is coming up is the 365 corridor. That was one of our main targets. Which there's a few things that we do want to discuss as it relates to 365 and the corridor that is or that we're proposing to have out there with all of the growth coming. But the main priority is identifying our actual overlay. So the way, very similar to the way that we have a downtown development district overlay, it's just a section of property or parcels that you set over your zoning map, and you've committed additional or maybe a variation of your zoning regulations to accommodate the businesses and or residential developments that go in that selected area. So tonight, I just want to put that out there that is the first target item that we have. If you guys have any thoughts, I'm going to sit down and you guys can have the conversation with each other. I'll take notes, and if I can offer any input, I'm more than happy to. But this is a time for you guys to talk. So I can try to guide you. I can offer some insight, but this is really for you. Any questions? Good luck.
So I noticed that in the newspaper there was an article that talked about the port in Savannah, about how much more business that they did than they expected. And if you guys remember, a couple of years, was it been 2 years ago, Stephanie and Martin, that we went traveled to Savannah? Yeah. And it was, and when we met with the people at the port, they were talking about how they talked about the expansions that they were going to do, took us on a tour around the facility, and then they talked about how they were expecting to get about 3% of the market share from the West Coast and some from up north, and that they were going to be bringing in, and the numbers that were reported in the paper in the Northeast Jordan were even more than, I mean, like a few times more than what they even talked about with us. And I don't know if that has much to do with, you know, the backups that they were having on the West Coast and the supply chain issues. But that is going to, with that kind of volume coming in, I think it's especially important that we talk about this 365 corridor. And, you know, we've also been having meetings with the other municipalities and the county and the development authority fairly regularly, and talking about, one of the things that we've talked about is, you know, what is it that we love about this community that we want to preserve? And it was all the same thing amongst everyone, is that it's a beautiful county. We have a lot of natural resources. It's got that small town feeling. We have some beautiful downtown districts. We have a great retail district. We've got an industrial park. These are all assets. An airport. We have parks and recreation. We have a hospital. So there are all these assets that are in the county, but we know that we're getting ready to drink through a fire hydrant. And so how is it that we work together as municipalities and the county and all the other boards and agencies to preserve that while still, accepting that growth and managing it? So I'm just gonna start the conversation with that. I've been very passionate and very excited about this, so.
Can I jump in, Alice?
Sure.
One of the things that, I'm glad you talked about the Savannah port, but for the folks who are watching, that sounds so far away geographically. What we have to do is remind people the connection to the inland port, right? That's
Yes.
going to be in Hall County, just south of us. So that connection of bringing up the goods from Savannah on railway and then distribution from the inland port on our highways
Yes.
will really affect us. So the growth of the Savannah port definitely affects Habersham and Hall County. And that is tied. We know that. One of the things I like, and two, I like how you're reminding us that this conversation about economic development needs to be a regional approach. So we want to keep that in mind. As we look at that 365 node, I hope one of the things that we can do is draw together landowners, business owners into a conversation about that space. So we don't exclude people, not necessarily town hall meetings, but have maybe some lunches, or meetings with folks who own land and own businesses, so we can talk about what's going to happen in the next 5 years in that area. Also, to that end, I was just interested in what part of 365 we were identifying for this overlay. If Emily used that word. So what actual piece of 365 would we identify? And I reached out to a friend of mine who has a drone business, and she said she's really happy to help us do some either like a 1-minute video or some drone images, so we can get a sense of really what's around the highway itself.
Right.
So I'd like to make the connections. I'd like to make the connections with the folks who already own land on the highway, and I would like to actually see this for myself. So use some kind of contemporary imaging to see which part of 365 we're talking about, because 365 is a big expanse.
It is, and I can't, I don't see any reason why Baldwin can't do some things to quote unquote sell themselves. Some of the things that we offer and bringing in economic development, it doesn't all have to be on the partnership for Habersham. I think that we have a lot of really smart people and that we are capable of doing some of that marketing of ourselves for ourselves. Benefits
But
so.
first, I would like to identify which part of 365 we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and then identify who the major players are, other than Baldwin.
So maybe, I don't think we have any maps here, do we?
No,
maps
but
here.
that's why I said, if we have any money budgeted, for something like a drone video
Okay.
or drone photography, there are folks that we can reach out to do that.
Yes. Yeah, and thank you. I left that part about the inland port out. That's actually, I believe they expect that to be completed at the end of 2024. Was that what they said at our retreat? Yeah, because we actually had. Yeah. Well, we had at our retreat we had someone from the Hall County Economic Development Committee come and talk to us about that. And so they were just basically waiting on some environmental studies that needed to come back to be able to get started. But yeah. We also visited the port in Murray County And as we understand from Savannah that the volume that will go through our inland port will be 3 times the amount of that of Murray County. And so we were able to look and see what was going on with, you know, the surrounding areas of Murray County and that inland port they've got there. But
One responsibility which we will have in regards to identifying that zone is to recognize the infrastructure deficiencies that are in that zone and to begin planning for those infrastructure improvements.
Okay.
Specifically for the water.
At this point, I think we're going to be very much limited in the growth of 365 by infrastructure. You know, what we already have in underground here. But I think the obvious, one of the fastest revenue generators that we could set down next to 365 would be like something along the lines of a Rocky pickleball court.
That's it.
that sounds like great exercise. Oh my goodness. Oh, Emily has brought out. Thanks, guys. Emily's brought us a overlay map, the zoning map. Yeah.
Let me get some.
Sure. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
So just keep in mind that this property, it kind of goes off here, and then right here,
Mm-hmm.
it's cut off, but that is all a part of the city of Baldwin.
Yeah, because we annexed.
Tell Emily I can't see here and here.
Going, the property that was annexed for Baldwin Village, behind Dairy Queen, and then all the way down to Alto Mud Creek.
Yep.
That property that was annexed into the city is not on our map, but it's a part of the city.
Yep. So, do you recall? Well, you know, of course, the one that the property that we annexed behind Dairy Queen, but then the one that straddles 365, and they actually have some expectation of commercial stuff, things that they want to do there on the highway. But do you recall where that is?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Great. So that's it. Just that area. I mean, all of what we've got in the city limits is all.
It's basically Duncan Bridge south to Alto Mud Creek, with some very limited exception to that. There's a very small track at or about the McDonald's law firm that would not be part of the city. And across from it, also that's not part of the city. But the overlay, it will be important to digest what the county themselves set up about 7 years ago, and to make certain that we at least take that as a consideration. It does not mean that we have to duplicate or abide by it, but they put some time and some research into it, so there's probably some justifiable support behind it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And theirs was for I believe the whole 365 stretch all the way up to Demers Mount Airy, so it didn't break up in any form or fashion. I think it's the whole extension all the way that far. The reality is 365 was kind of shuffled to the top because of for example, the 3 businesses that were approved and ready to roll in 2022 alone. That is the growth district, and that's not only the growth district, but that's the immediate growth district, and that's why that's been pushed as our first to do.
Right.
Just to let everyone know why it's important that we're discussing this, because if we don't go ahead and set that overlay in, and we say approve and dissolve and move forward with 6 other projects, well then it's a smaller footprint of designated zoning, so to speak, because you can't go back and zone something that's already been put on the ground. Yeah, you can only zone the forward use of that property.
You know, some of the things that, and of course this has always been in the front of our minds, but we have also done a little bit of background work. I think what really important part of that was the forum that we had with the DOT. That was huge, and I reached out to Representative Anderson and was like, hey, I'm really concerned about the safety on 365, and so anyway, he took him a little while, but he got them out, and they had a big thing out at the, Habersham EMC, and they talked about some of the things that they were considering doing on 365 to improve the safety of it. So that was great.
So the way we left the meeting is, Martin and I are left with the responsibility of identifying these properties and suggesting what
Yes,
this,
that's
what
right.
this district would be. You all gave us a deadline of like March the 31st of
Wow.
2060.
I think it's May.
May the 31st of 2063, so we'll get it done.
Switch that 6 to a 2.
What's the deadline?
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll get some time.
Yeah.
But we need to understand the rest of the council's, guidance on that project.
Do you guys want us to begin having that conversation with the contact that Stephanie has with the drone
I can
and
hear Emily.
get the overview?
She was asking if we wanted to go ahead and start, get with the contact for the drone, person that you have and start getting an idea of those properties. I think that's a great idea. I see that as being a really good investment.
Well, and it goes beyond just identifying the properties. We have to start thinking about, how should I put this delicately? We should start thinking about running our own show. As in, we may have to start looking at doing a promotional video
Yeah.
that we can then distribute via, our Facebook feeds and whatnot. But we have to start marketing, giving people the message that this is what we have available, and proper drone footage would go a long ways towards that. I mean, I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but if we could get that together, then that would definitely make it easier to sell.
My contact also works for the city of Toccoa, and if you know, Toccoa's done quite a bit with their downtown over the last few years, and the drone operator, her name is also Stephanie. So Stephanie does work for Toccoa. She does work for their local magazines. She does these little 1-minute videos that can go up on YouTube. They can go on our website, and she's relatively local. She's in Toccoa. So what she wanted from us is sort of markers on where she should begin the photography and where to end. So I think Emily's right. We need to, and the mayor, that we need to look at that 365 corridor assessment that the county did. We need to have some conversations. And then one thing Stephanie has to do, I didn't realize this, is also work with the FAA. So she has to get approvals from them to fly her drone. It's not like just anybody can send a drone up and take pictures if we're going to do this officially. So I think we need to get some of our parameters in order before we take the step that Martin is taking, but I completely agree we need to take that step.
Maybe that's something that you guys can work on, is figuring out where those lines are and get that.
Well,
Did I just invite myself into that committee?
The mayor's nodding yes.
We take volunteers.
Yeah, we do. We would, and that's one of the great things about, I know this, takes some time at our meetings, to have these discussions, but it's part of keeping us accountable to some of the things that we commit to in those retreats, because we get all excited at the retreat and then forget about it. I'll be the number one. Be like, oh yeah, we said we're gonna do that.
Well, I'll be the official timekeeper. We have about 1 minute and 32 seconds left to discuss this, and then we have to move along.
Okay, so there you go.
Let's agree to meet. If the mayor, Martin, and I can find a time to meet, happy to do so, and I'd like to join that committee.
Alright.
We'll communicate, the three of us, via email, along with Ms. Woodmaster, and try to set that up.
Great, thank you.
Yes. All right, great. Any other discussion with economic development? Ms. Woodmaster, you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Excellent. We're gonna move right along to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda tonight is authorization of surplus fire truck, recognition of fire truck donation, and approval of water treatment plant expenses for raw water pump and filter improvements in the amount of $80,000. Any discussion with the consent agenda? Any concerns with the consent agenda?
Can we move item C out?
Completely remove it from the consent agenda? You want to move it
Yes,
somewhere
because
else, or-
we need to talk about it. I would like to change the amount.
Okay.
Okay. Is council okay with that?
Sure.
I'm
Yes, sir.
here, her.
Do we want to maintain it on the consent agenda, just have it be a secondary item, or do we need to move it down as an actual new business item?
Which item?
Item C from the consent agenda.
I recommend making it an item. Unless you want to talk about it and delay approving the consent agenda, I'm okay with that too.
Well, we can call for a motion to approve the consent agenda item A and B. If there's
Sure.
going to be any discussion for item C, I would suggest we move it under to its own item, but we could also call for an adjustment to the consent agenda and then ask for approval of the consent agenda. If there's going to be some discussion, let's move it down.
I would.
So let's at this time, I'd like to ask council to approve of an agenda amendment. We're going to move item C off of the consent agenda and move it down to item 7 under new business.
Got it. So moved.
Okay, so I have a motion from Ms. Venter. Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Dr. Almano. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so we now have a new consent agenda, which just consists of 2 items. It's item A, which is authorization of surplus fire truck, and item B, which is recognition of fire truck donation. Any concerns with those 2 items? All right, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda containing item A and item B as presented on paper?
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Venter. Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Llewellyn. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so this is going to be moved down here. All right. At this point, at this time, we'll open up the podium for citizens' comments. If there's any Baldwin City citizens who would like to address council, please come forward at this time. Seeing no one come forward, we move right along. Next item is going to be reports. We have a financial report. Ms. Woodmaster, this you? Excellent.
My apologies. Give myself a paper cut.
Oh,
What happens when you have this fancy paper? You get the cheap stuff, you don't have to worry about that.
All right. So forgive me, I don't know what page number is in your packet for the revenue and expenditure report. No.
But you just wanted the 2 printouts.
No, that's okay. So I have it. Chris, do you mind making copies for council? Can you give him one to? Sorry. That's my fault. I asked you to-
Copies be cheap.
Yes. 7.
So what they will give you in this morning is the mid-year financial report, earnings statement. There are a couple of items that, while I'm waiting, I'll explain to you. We had some issues with our railroad excise tax. We receive it annually. It's anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 every fiscal year. And they changed how they submit their payments. So for the last 2 years, it's not been going to the correct bank account. It was a big debacle. However, we got it situated. It's figured out. They have been able to reimburse us for 1 year. They're working on reimbursing the second year. So on the earnings statement, it looks like we have not received that payment, but we have received it. It's just not recorded because we're trying to correct it because it's for 2 years ago, not for this year.
Oh, yeah, so it's gotta go
Does
back.
that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
And then the other item is our insurance premium tax. You won't see it on your R&E statement, but we did receive it in October. And last year's insurance premium tax was $271,000, and this year it was $307,000. So those house additions that we made immediately impacted the insurance premium as well.
Gotcha.
Every department is where they need to be or significantly lower than anticipated mid-year. Again, when you're looking at that R&E statement, you want to find everything will be at 50%. For revenue, you want it to be over 50%, and for expenses, you want it to be under 50%. If you're looking at some items, there are a few that you will see that are over budget. However, they're not truly an over budget item. We have a number of funding sources that we use to pay for items like speed zone revenue or the operations and maintenance reserve fund for wastewater treatment plant improvements. So all of those are still being accounted for under your line item, but the funding source for it is there. So it looks like the budget line has exceeded its annual budget. However, there's funding that comes behind it that will eventually make right that side of it, but it looks currently like it's over. But there's not. There's one line item that is truly over, and that is in public works. We had 2 emergency expenses that came. But there's only one. There's only one, and it's 101%, and that is because we had 2 emergency expenses that we had.
Yeah. We had a lot of crazy things happen, I think. Yeah.
I do feel confident that we'll be able to offset it with the remainder of the budget, so it's not a concern at this time. So everything else under budget, I reviewed every line item that is over that 100% mark, just to verify that we are indeed under budget, or explain why it's not. It is kind of difficult to do this without you guys having yours. So I apologize. That is
You're doing a good job, though.
absolutely my fault. The one area that we do have that is a concern, and you will see it in our revenue, is for our background checks, which we anticipated higher than what's coming in at this point. So Chief and I have been looking at alternatives, what our rate is and what the going rate is for the other agencies that are doing this, and trying to bring back some of the customers that we lost because of that inexorable rate. So we are looking at that. I am not, I don't believe that we will make, I think we budgeted $604,000 for this year. This is the first time we've ever had that high of a number. However, with the way that the trend of the last 6 months, I would anticipate that we will receive $200,000 less. And that is if we don't make any changes. As is, current rate, current clientele, and not making any changes, but that is the worst projection. We are hoping to change that by adjusting our rates.
Yeah.
I will say that while that is a concern, we've also reduced our GCIC staff. Not intentionally, we did not lay anyone off. It was just a natural cycle of employees leaving and us holding that position and determining if we needed it or not. So we have reduced overhead in GCIC, but we've also reduced overhead in our police department as well, because we budgeted for part-time officers, which we did not, and we do not anticipate utilizing this year. We went ahead with hiring that last officer to make us full-time. So that offset in cost makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about the GCIC number being a tad lower than we originally anticipated. We will still monitor it, so you will hear from me monthly about that, just because it is a significant number. So I don't want that to fall by the wayside. We are receiving more lost revenue than we originally anticipated for this year. So we'll see if the trend moves as it has in the last 18 months. We'll see an additional $20,000. But that is if everything stays as it should. Do you guys have any questions or things that you have been concerned about that you may want to ask a question about, even without looking at the numbers?
The moment.
Have y'all had a chance to see financials up to this point?
Not yet. If they were in my email, I didn't get them. I've been super busy, so.
They should be in your monthly staff reports.
Yeah.
You got from Aaron.
When did those go out?
They go out, I think the bulk of them went out in September, and then you have November, December
Oh,
is
yes.
due.
Yeah. Okay.
December is due from city department heads this
Yeah.
month, so you
Okay.
should be receiving some of those.
Awesome. Why do we think the GCIC numbers went down? Just
There's a
background
number
checks.
of changes that we made in GCIC the last fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
We do believe that our rate is too high.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was a change we made last year.
I remember.
And as a result, our clients have found other agencies to do the checks for us significantly cheaper.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Emily fell off there. I didn't hear her. I heard we made the rate change last year and then what?
We made a rate change last year, and as a result, some of our clients found another agency to complete their checks at a cheaper rate.
Do we continue to offer the great accuracy that we had in the quick turnaround time?
We do. That's why we still have a number of our clients that have been here for many years. We are accurate, we are timely, and if you ask any one of the clients that we have, they would echo that.
Are we looking at going down?
Yeah, we're
To
looking
be
at adjusting.
competitive?
Yeah, we're looking at adjusting the rate to be in the market that everyone else is. Everyone else that completes checks as we do, they're all around the same rate. We are 40% higher.
40% higher. Oh,
How did that happen? Who did the rate analysis?
A decision was made by previous personnel.
Okay.
So we are looking at that now to make the necessary changes to try to recover.
because our GCIC department's reputation, like you said, for swiftness and accuracy is really good. So I think that if we're a little more competitive, that hopefully some of those customers will come back to us because they enjoy that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
We have collected 53% of our anticipated revenue. That number you will not see on your R&D statement because of the changes that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But we are at 53%. So we're not.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Right.
We're where we should be. This is just one of those areas that I wanted to bring to your attention because it is a concern.
Wow. I truly appreciate this, Emily. It makes me feel better to see the micro work, not just at the macro level, but thank you for letting me drill down into the details. I like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get the revenue and expenditure statement, if you have any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer it. If there is an inconsistency, I probably have already seen it and we're addressing it. Sometimes it's not, in some instances, it's not easy to just click a button and change the number. There is a process, and in some cases, it requires budget adjustments. So we don't want to modify anything that we haven't done before.
For the record, any financial software that's worth having is not easy to adjust, just click and adjust a number. If you told us it was easy to click and adjust a number,
Be concerned.
then that's a major concern.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And some of our numbers are tied to one another, so we might have an expense line that is significantly higher than it should be at this point. Thank you. But it could be that we only have one annual expense, so we've already expensed it for the year. So it's not when you're looking through that percentage, it's not cut and dry. So if you see something that's at 98%, there might be a good reason. Might be, we only spend something once or twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
and all of it's been allocated.
Can I request my copy digitally?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Okay, I'll be looking for that. Thank you.
just.
praying or
I
reading?
know.
They're reading.
I can read this later. So you can move on to our other stuff.
Okay. We don't traditionally approve reports. I'm not interested in beginning that. Does
No.
council need us to approve this report?
No.
Okay. Excellent. We're gonna move right along then to old business, consideration approval of the, why these big words?
Forgot.
Security camera contract.
How about that answer?
All right, on page 2 of your packet, you will see a breakdown of quotes. My goal tonight is not to achieve consensus and fund this project, it is to gauge how you want us to move forward. So Adapt to Solve is the company or the contractor that installs Verkada equipment. This is the company that, or the camera system that was brought before you by Jeff Brayton a couple of months back. What they did for us, and you'll see the purple and the tan green color. That purple color are the rates that are good through this month. They are going up on their rates. So they wanted to present that to us in the event that council wanted to fund that now. And then the tan rate is good through February 10th. So there's not a significant variation, but it's significant enough that it warrants a conversation. Also, an update from the last time this was brought before you is there are 3 options that you have for your term, your contract term. You have 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. The one that we were originally quoted and was originally presented was a 10-year quote. So we wanted to see what the other rates would look like. So that's what you have before you tonight.
Is this the only ones? I know you guys have some recommendations that you like it because of the cloud storage and stuff like that, but I almost want to say that the person that I spoke with the city of Clarksville said that they have that too, and there was a local company. But $10,000 is a lot. That one, the 12 cameras valid through January 31st. Oh, the 10, and that's at 10 years. Okay, $39,219, and then the 12 cameras at 3 years, good through February 10th, was $29,331. But that 39,000 is over the whole 10 years, right? So really, I mean, the 12 cameras at 3 years at 29,000, that's a pretty significant difference.
So the fee is paid for upfront, but you're guaranteed that equipment for 10 years. So if there's any issues, malfunctions, you're guaranteed that overnight camera with the update. The reason that I brought this quote before you tonight, again, was to gauge where you wanted us to move. This quote is the as you mentioned, the cloud storage. So if somebody wanted to deactivate or damage one of our cameras, it won't damage the entire system. We would be immediately notified that the camera was compromised, and the other cameras are still activated. The other option we have is a DVR or NVR model, which puts the server or the downloaded the actual data, the video footage stored at one location. So that is a downside. If we don't want to move in this direction, I can get quotes from agencies that do not have this same type of technology. I just didn't want to bring them as a comparison because they're not the same.
I want more quotes because this looks excessive. And is this the same company that's got the facial recognition in every camera?
Yes.
Okay, here's the problem that I have, and I'll go over this again. This council, the department heads we have now, chief, and this council, I trust y'all. I do not trust anybody else that comes after me. I cannot and will not be able to accept anything that has the option of facial recognition in a public space. City Hall, police department, fire department, sure thing. But when you start putting facial recognition in public spaces like the park, now I've got a problem with it. So if we can get something, I really wanna see quotes from other companies, because it just feels like everything that we've gotten so far has been so ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I understand the online storage, I used to be in that business. But, this just seems, I mean, that's a big ask. As far as just the online storage aspect of it is concerned. Online storage has become so exponentially cheaper, over the last decade, over the last 5 years, that this is just, I can't swallow that. And then the whole having facial recognition in public space, I can't. So if we could find some more, at least one or two more quotes for something similar, and as long as we can ensure that the cameras that are facing the road and parks don't have facial recognition, that is something I can work with. But I have to look out for the citizens of Baldwin, and I don't think it's in their best interest to have their faces scanned every time they walk into the park. I just cannot do that in good conscience. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I'm just mad that they're tearing up the park, so I'm ready to have anybody's face that I can get. But I agree, and I think Stephanie has also expressed that. I just can't think of the name of the company that the city of Clarksville recommended that they used over in Pitts Park, and said that it's protected by some sort of like a Pelican type case that goes over the camera, and that they actually have online like they have cloud storage. I may be wrong, but at least, yeah, I mean,
I did talk to Keith, and he said he was gonna send me the name of the guy.
oh, great. Oh, okay, so yeah, okay. Say what now?
You spoke to Keith and what?
Then he's supposed to send her the name of the company that they use over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, even if if the cameras do have facial recognition technology, because like she said, they're not the same. However, it is good to have more than one quote. It's best to have that, some other options that we can choose from.
Martin, would you vote for this if the facial recognition could be turned off?
Unfortunately, I would not, because it is simply a matter of turning it back on when some other future council that does not give a whit about the citizens' privacy comes in and says, oh yeah, for public safety or whatever, let's turn it back on. It's, as long as the option is there, my vote will be no.
Okay, so maybe what I'm having trouble with is figuring out how we want to use these cameras, because Alice just mentioned we want to catch people who are vandalizing the bathrooms and the playgrounds and the parks. So how do we do that if we don't have facial recognition?
Well, fortunately, at this point, our city is still small enough to where a lot of people that would perpetrate something like that are generally known already. And, I've just seen the abuse of the ability to use facial recognition, not just in this country, but in other countries, and I will have no part of it.
No, okay, so I'm with you. I don't like the facial recognition either, but maybe if Chief is there, or one of the officers, maybe they can help me understand how we would be using the technology to help dissuade people from vandalizing our public spaces. Because I'm trying to figure out what the problem is and if this is the right solution, right? Because if this is not the right solution to the vandalism, then we would save ourselves $42,000.
So, Miss Amanya, this Chris. All right, so we definitely need cameras. That is for sure. Scott will agree with me on that one. And our monument that we're so proud of for Edgar Flores, we don't want it damaged. I definitely see Martin's point, because how many times have we seen governments go rogue? How many times have we seen that? Definitely. The Verkada, I've been on several Zoom calls with them. Super high quality product. The price you see, what hurts with that so bad, what makes it high is the storage and its a lease ability. They maintain that camera the whole time. A lot of the cameras, we're gonna purchase those up front, and when they break, we have to pay for those.
Right.
So Martin's suggestion, what if we call Verkada and the cameras that are on the parks, that are on the streets, don't have facial recognition at all. It's built that way. But the one here at the PD, hopefully that will catch the person that busted the windshield on our patrol car,
Yep.
has facial recognition. So is that a possibility, Martin?
Oh, yeah, as long as the cameras that are facing the public spaces, do not have the option for facial recognition, I can work with it. You know, I
Because
can,
I agree with you, you get a rogue command here, a rogue
Yes.
government. We could all in this room try to do the right thing, but when we're gone, and we are, I mean, we're
Yeah.
training our replacements every day.
Yeah.
We can't control a person's mind, what they're gonna do, so. But I will say, in Dahlonega, me and Jeff had another camera system, I cannot remember the name of it. We had our own storage, it was only good for like 2 weeks, because it is so expensive, as you know, Martin, to back all this material up.
Yeah.
But then we got constant glitches in the camera. The footage, the camera was down. There was an issue. And a lot of times it's got to do with the Wi-Fi connection. Verkada has probably the best as far as Wi-Fi
Yeah.
and capabilities. And if it doesn't work, we call them and they will fix it.
Yeah.
So,
That is definitely that, because you know how cameras are. They love to not work.
yes.
Yeah. And then we even talk about some of the security camera footage that's so grainy that you can't see anything, but these
Yeah.
little cell phones right here can take the picture of a hair on
And
the
you've
fly
seen the
behind.
footage on the Verkada cameras. It's very clear.
Yeah, that's good.
unless they're trying to take video of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, so anyway. So, yeah, would that make you, would you be a little more in favor of that?
Yep, I can work with it as long as there are no facial recognition in the parks.
And why don't we
That's
get
gonna
it?
be really hard, because the other two quotes that I got that were the NVR based, both of them had that capability. And one of them is Absolute Security, which is a very prominent security firm.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
But I will look, I'll absolutely look.
I mean, sorry, I have to be a pain about it, but it's just one of those things
It's your
that I'm a stickler for.
And then I guess the other company that Clarksville uses, that'd be great. Okay. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Emily.
All right, moving right along, next item is consideration approval of fire truck purchase and warranty program.
So as you know, we are trying to buy a fire truck.
Yep.
We had council
Trying to.
approve it back in November. I did include, sure it's here. One of the, no, I'm not sure how to. One of the stipulations we had in purchasing this truck was that they could transfer the 2-year, manufacturer's warranty. We had significant issues and delays with achieving that. So one of the alternatives we brought to them was, what if we just purchased a warranty program or a warranty, on the vehicle, and then they just reduce that from the price of the apparatus. We are still waiting on their response to that, but in the meantime, we reached out to a company called Vital Trends, who warranties vehicles up to 20 years. And it is a comprehensive warranty, I will say. We met with the founder and CEO last Monday. And talked with him. He answered all of our questions. The biggest thing was, what do you cover and what do you not? And he said almost anything. There are very few things that they don't cover, especially with a fire apparatus. And it's some of the things that you don't think about. I'll let Chief explain why we like this program. The reason that we're bringing it before council is because it is an additional $60,000. We are hoping that the agency that's selling the apparatus will pay for 2 years of that or reduce that from the cost of the vehicle. I did reach out to GMA to determine if we could include that in the lease purchase option, which is how we would pay for the apparatus anyway. And they said that that is not a problem, that they're more than happy to include that. It does change the amount in total. The total cost of the apparatus with the warranty would be $755,000.
And the warranty's 60,000 over 20 years, right?
Over 10 years.
10 years.
Oh, 10 years. But it
They
goes
can
for-
warranty you.
Yeah, they warranty up to, they warranty up to a 20-year-old vehicle.
Oh,
Sorry.
I see.
I-
Okay, I gotcha.
It's for a 10-year warranty.
I'm assuming it doesn't cover garage doors, does it?
We did ask.
It does not. It was really
Our-
hard for us.
Our insurance man came by today and was sitting out there looking at it, and Steve, and talking to us about it, and told us drop for another structure fire. You just sat there and watched all the trucks go.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
no. So $6,000 a year, and it's got a warranty on it, and it's it's almost a brand new truck. So that's a good
Yes,
thing.
I'm gonna let Chief explain that though,
Yeah.
because it's his area.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, yeah, the warranty that this company has, it's 5-year warranty, 10-year warranty, and unfortunately, a 5-year warranty is a little bit more expensive. If you buy just 5, you buy 10, you get a better deal. And I asked him what it covered. It says bumper to bumper. He said, no, we don't say bumper to bumper. But
Yes.
if you look in your packet, if you got a copy of this,
We don't have a.
oh, you don't? Well, I will get you a copy sent, and there is so much that's covered. Basically, the only thing that's not covered, I mean, even the lights go bad, light bar goes bad, one light, individual light goes bad, is covered. There's no deductible on this policy.
Oh,
So whatever's bad is bad, they pay for it. The pump is covered. There's a few little things that are not covered. But if it's attached to an item, that is covered. And the company that they use to warranty the stuff, pay for the stuff, won't cover because it's not in the warranty. He said, just call me, I'll make sure it's covered. I'll pay for it. If it's an item that touches another item that is warranted and it breaks because of it, he will pay for it. So, another good example was a tire. Tires are not under warranty. But if the axle broke, and they jammed that tire up under the fire truck and busted that tire,
Yeah.
gotcha.
the warranty company won't warranty it, but you call him and he'll pay for the new tire.
Excellent.
So
Open the tank, the water tank?
the tank would be covered. There's really not much that's not covered. It's usually your wearable items. You know, your brakes, rotors. In fact, the first year we get the warranty, they'll put brand new brakes and rotors on that truck.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yeah.
it's a pretty good deal.
Only
Which
one
is-
time.
We found out.
Only one time.
Only one time.
Which is still great because that's
Yeah.
quite expensive as we've recently found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
How about the electrical part? See,
The electrical part,
computer, I know it's got computer on it. And I know they're expensive. Does stuff like that come?
Yeah.
wiring and harnesses, you know, we did a lot of it on that truck out back, on wiring harnesses, and we rebuilt new wiring harnesses, that's covered.
I would assume that the wire,
EGRs,
Yep.
computerized,
Yeah.
connected to the wiring harness.
centrifugal, crank cables, separators, it goes on EGR monitor sensors,
I mean, I would say the computer, the computers.
ASM
connected to the
sensors.
wiring harness too.
exhaust sensors. there's a whole list of stuff.
I'm
that
sure
we
it's
cover.
things fuel injected, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, is the computer part of the fuel injection system.
Yeah. There's two tiers on this warranty, and the quote that you've got covers both tiers. The first tier is called the SWAT tier, and the other one's a battalion tier, which goes into all that other stuff, electronics and stuff. But everything's covered, except for basically your wearable items. And I couldn't believe that electrical wiring was even involved in that, and the emergency lighting package. You know, you have a light with that, they'll buy a new light.
That's excellent. I mean, if
They
you
really
think
have
about
thought about it.
If you think about it, what do we budget in for truck repairs
Yeah.
just in a year?
20, 30,000?
And so, right, so we've got that, you know, so that saves us a little on our repair budget. But then that you spread that out over, 10 years, then I think that's a great investment too.
Well, you look at $6,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and we get, the fire department will agree to pay for the first 2 years, which they'll deduct from the price of the truck,
Yeah,
would be $12,000.
yeah, that's not too bad.
You know, that contract could be worth $250,000.
Yeah.
Easy. Drop a transmission or drop an engine.
How much was it to do all the brakes?
On the ladder truck on the rear, it took wheel seals, took new drums and new brakes. And it was
Is it 9,000?
$9,800 and something.
Yeah.
So if this includes, the first set of brakes and such, that's already quite a
Right.
significant.
Yeah. And of course, on a fire truck, it'd be probably a little cheaper than that ladder truck, but still, it's gonna
Yeah.
be probably close to $6.
Yeah, I was figuring around 4
They had to
to 6.
replace the drums, rotors, wheel seals.
I don't have a problem with that. And so, how's it looking with the fire department that's selling it to us? Do they seem like they're? do they
Well,
seem like they're-
you know, I deal with the broker, I don't talk to the fire department.
Yeah.
So I spoke with the broker this morning,
Mhm.
and I explained to them I had a meeting tonight, and I would really like to know that information,
Yeah.
if they're willing to drop the price, $12,000. And, he assures he shouldn't be a problem,
Yeah.
that he does not have an answer yet,
Sure.
and he was gonna try to get one, and I didn't get no word yet.
Okay.
It seems like it takes a while to get something out of that fire department, because they have to meet with 5 different chiefs before they can,
Right.
come up with an answer. But they are looking at sending 2 guys down on the 31st
Uh-huh.
next week to Louisiana to look at that truck, make sure that everything that they had listed was fixed under warranty.
Mhm.
And if it's good, and they agree, and we pass this warranty tonight,
Mhm.
then they will drive the truck to us on the 1st or 2nd.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Great.
And we'll look it over. We're gonna play
Yeah.
with it all day
Yeah.
before we
Oh,
say
yeah.
yes. Otherwise, they're taking it back,
Yeah.
and we'll get you.
Well, I don't have a problem with the warranties, but will I have a chance to look at it?
I did.
Yeah. How's it look? Good?
Like a-
Like a warranty?
Yeah.
Well, that kinda scares me. I'm kidding. Well, that's great.
I seen a lot of electrical stuff in there, I don't see nothing about computer listed, but, that'd be mine.
Leary's gonna be way more qualified to look at this than I am. You look at it, Leary?
That's just the biggest thing, these new big vehicles is computers,
I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
you're right, we just had to put one in the small fire truck, and
Yeah.
it was, I wanna say it was, close to 4,000.
I'm sure it's not right.
Just for perspective, had we gotten the manufacturer's warranty, would the manufacturer's warranty cover the computer?
Manufacturer warranty, I do not believe would cover it would cover less than what this one does. Because,
I figured, yeah.
Definitely shorter term.
Yeah.
yeah, it goes from, when they start talking about items that are warranty, especially on pumps, there's like 10 different things that are connected together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only like one piece has its warranty, where this one here goes all the way through. I mean, that's each way to explain it, as far as the difference between this one and manufacturer warranty.
I don't have a problem with it. I think that's a great idea. It's probably a better, probably getting off better.
I mean, it's probably better warranty than the manufacturer's warranty, I ain't saying that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of issues with new vehicles, where it's confused me now.
Yeah.
Do you have the price for the 5-year version?
It's like 42,000.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
it's about
18,000?
18,000 difference for an additional 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
Thank you.
$300.
Yeah.
I think they kind of do that to make it like 10 years.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to go with a 10-year.
Well, if you got a 10-year lease on the truck and you get a 10-year warranty,
Match it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh?
So.
it's covered all the way through with the lease program.
We're proposing a 7-year lease, by the way. 7
Oh,
years.
so-
Okay.
So we'll have warranty even after.
Yeah.
Okay. No concerns, no issues? All right, so $60,000?
What's that? Yes.
That's the total cost. We're hopeful that it will be $12,000 less
Yeah.
than that. I mean, included in the cost of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So instead of us paying $695, we would be paying the $6.
Okay, so first and foremost, if the other department decides not to discount for the warranty, are y'all still interested in the warranty?
Yes.
Are we still interested in buying that truck?
Unless you've got another
Why you
suggestion.
gotta put us in spot like that?
Well, I had a backup. I had a backup, and it would
Yeah.
have helped a lot better than this one. But I woke up yesterday to an email saying that they sold it.
Oh, man.
It was on hold when I found it. I found
Yeah.
it too late. Somebody already had it on hold.
Yeah.
They were like, "Look, if you're really interested, let us know. Let us know." And look, I can't. I'm working on this deal over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but they whoever had hold on it went ahead and took it. So,
well,
It works out like it's
and I
supposed to.
kept looking today, and nothing has come up. So,
I mean, this truck, we can get it quick, it's a good price. With this warranty, it really seems to be a good deal.
And since the answer is you want the warranty, whether they give the 10, 12,000 or not, I'm going to call the motion in regards solely to the warranty and not in regards to the 12,000 potential discount.
Okay.
If y'all told me it was hinged on that, then I would have called for the motion contingent upon the $12,000 discount.
Yeah.
But I understand you correctly that y'all want the warranty either or. Okay. All right, can I have a motion to approve the purchase of a warranty program through
Vital
Trends
Trends.
for a 10-year warranty on the fire truck we're considering to purchase in the amount of $60,000.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. Venter. Is that motion okay?
Can you add how to pay for it? I think that.
Okay, so, so I'm going to just recraft the motion altogether then. Can I have a motion to approve the purchase of a fire truck warranty program from Vital Trends for the length of 10 years in the amount of $60,000 to be added to the lease, which has been priorly approved to purchase the truck in the first place?
So moved.
Perfect. And that's exactly the legal words for it, Ms. Harrington. Don't legal it up anymore. And Ms. Venture has made the motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second from Mr. Venture. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Amano, I believe I heard you say aye. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so that motion carries unanimously.
thank you.
You will?
Chief and Emily, do your due diligence. Save this city $12,000.
Oh, that's why I asked if you want to buy it, 'cause, I mean, that's our terms, so.
Yeah, we followed the will of the council, and now y'all have the opportunity to save the city $12,000. You know what $12,000 buys nowadays? 3 Coca-Colas.
No kidding, yeah, not a lot, right?
Not a
Some
lot.
brakes, some brakes for the truck, right?
All right, consideration of, next item is consideration approval of the digitized Habersham donation. This was, Peter Madruga came to us and, presented to us the project that he and his nonprofit was working on. And he asked us that night for $1,000 monetary donation. In addition to that, he asked for copies of minutes and other photos that were related that would help him provide more content for his project. I believe I heard the council that night say, go for it with the minutes and the photos, so staff is going to be working directly with him on that. Is there anything you'd like to add? Okay, so tonight I'm asking for a motion to consider, or a motion to approve the donation of, and how did we decide who's gonna pay for this?
I don't think we did. I don't think we talked about, and I think Stephanie has some questions also.
Yes, ma'am.
I realize that the Habersham Historical Society seems to be affiliated with the county at large. I'm not sure how this undermines their work, adds to their work, differs from their work. If we as taxpayers are already supporting the Historical Society, why are we considering supporting this particular organization? And I've been on their website. I see that they're a 501c3. What I don't see that I see on other 501c3s, I don't see staff members, board of directors, vision for how this organization is sustaining itself for the future. I mean, I know it's $1,000, which doesn't seem like a lot after we just talked about $60,000 for a warranty, but it's still not our money. It's still the citizens' money, and I'm wondering if that $1,000 is, are we already paying for something through the Historical Society with our tax dollars? Are we just duplicating it with this $1,000 fee? And I'm not convinced yet that we need to issue the $1,000 check to this organization.
Okay.
If I recall, I cannot recall exactly what it, maybe Emily knows exactly what it was that he was gonna do that we thought was such a benefit, that he was gonna digitize a lot of our stuff. Am I wrong? I'm sorry, a lot has happened between then and now.
I do believe he was going to.
I can't hear Emily.
Sorry.
I do believe he was going to include, like, he was pulling newspaper clippings and any historical information that he had about all of the cities in Habersham. He was building that into his database. So anything that we could provide to him would be beneficial. And because of the way that he was digitizing, it was searchable. So when he uploaded,
That's what it was.
yeah, when he uploaded a photograph that was from 1957 Willingham Avenue, you would be able to search Baldwin, Georgia, or Willingham Avenue, or 1957, or whatever, and that would pull up. I think that was what he was mainly after. And then, of course, including minutes and anything that we could provide as far as records go.
I understand that, but I'm not sure how this is sustained into the future. So is this one man's project that will end when this one particular person dies, or is this something that the county has approved that we as citizens want to put our money behind? I'm just not convinced that this is a sustainable project beyond the life force of this one particular gentleman. So when I go on the website, I don't see a staff. I don't see a board of directors, which a 501c3 usually has. So I'm not yet convinced that the $1,000 of our citizens' money is best spent on this one particular project when there are things that in the county, or the county already has, or could
So the problem with the, Historical Society is that they've had very low participation, and, it's just been kind of hard to get things, put together. So, you know, you couldn't call me a history buff, because I love it, and I'm interested in it. But I feel like, so the Historical Society is having a hard time digitizing things, and it has become, something that not a lot of people participate in. And
why don't we give them the $1,000?
They don't, well, I mean, we could, but they don't have the ability to digitize things. They don't have the staff and the people and the, just the participation. So, as he mentioned that he's a one-man band, that he spends a lot of his man hours doing this. So, you know, I hate if the Historical Society does close down, all of that information goes away with them.
I feel the same way about this particular site.
Right.
Right, is the Historical Society sanctioned by the county or supported by the county financially?
No.
It's a private group as
Yes,
well?
it is. Mr. Swanson started it about 50 years ago, I believe. Yeah.
So why are we using public money to support a private entity?
I mean, we don't have to. I just, you know, just as one council member that realizes that the importance of preserving history so that it doesn't repeat itself. I don't know. We could put it out there for the citizens to say, hey, do you support this or not?
I agree with you about the history. I absolutely do. I'm just wondering if this is duplicating services that we already have. I don't know anything about the Historical Society potentially folding, if that's what I think I just heard you say. So I just feel like we're duplicating things that are already out there.
Anybody else? Yes.
I think that, the best move here would probably be to maybe move this out a little bit so we can get more information together.
I'm happy with that, absolutely. Table it for tonight for more research.
Okay, sounds good to me, because, this was brought forward because at the time he was here, y'all were emotionally distraught and ready to give him $1,000 that night. And I had suggested that you didn't behave like that, so it was been a couple of months, so I thought it was appropriate timing, plus he re-asked. So, can I have a motion to table and move to some futuristic date the consideration of the digitized Habertown donation?
So moved.
I have a motion from Dr. Amano. Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Ayers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that moves forward to some time in the future.
Okay.
Please, take time to discuss with Mr. Madruga your concerns. And if you'd like, we can invite him back to a work session, but let the assembly know in a timely manner, which is not the night of the meeting. A timely manner, if you remember our chart, is the Thursday prior to the meeting, before 8 o'clock, and give us the supporting document before 5 o'clock the same day. Okay. Unless Emily wants it the same day.
No.
All right, perfect. We're gonna move on to item 4, consideration approval of the NGN Connect account update.
All right, so as you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we discussed the agreement that we have with NGN. They are, for the most part, the internet provider for all of our city buildings. They have since gone through an acquisition with, I knew the name.
Point broadband fiber.
There we go. I think the letter is actually in your packet. With Point, page 3, with Point Broadband Fiber. With that, it brought to light some of part of the agreement that we had in the past. It was a 2014 agreement, and the city had invested public funds into the infrastructure, with the ultimate goal of providing internet to whoever could have access to it. The time has changed, the technology has changed, the infrastructure has changed, and with this transition, it gave us an opportunity to look at that agreement, as well as our account relationship with NGN and future company Point Broadband. As a result of those conversations with NGN, I spoke to council individually about what we wanted to do, whether that be become an internet provider for our citizens, which was an option because we own the infrastructure that is on our water tower and the like, or if we wanted to allow this acquisition to take place and our account and our agreement would follow suit with Point Broadband. As a result of that conversation, we determined that the city does not want to be an internet provider. We would like to see a brand new agreement with Point Broadband and do away with the NGN agreement or Appalachian Broadband Tech of 2014. A part of that transition or that change is a reimbursement option for the city of Albany to receive our funds back that we invested, which that number is $32,500. NGN has agreed to reimburse us of that money. However, Point Broadband in their transition, they have not been able to supply a new franchise agreement with the city. So we do not have an agreement with Point Broadband. We do have written communication between NGN, now Point Broadband, as well as us, that they have agreed to maintain our customer account. So we are not losing our internet without having this agreement in place. What is not established is the franchise agreement component. So once NGN pays us for the $32,500, the relationship and that contract are done. There'll be no more. And then Point Broadband will address us with a new contract or agreement to maintain the infrastructure that is currently out in the system, because they will own it.
And I'm putting you on the spot here, but what would staff recommend?
What do you mean? I recommend that we allow them to pay us and
Right.
do away with NGN.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
And I believe that Bubba has been involved in some of these conversations. And am I right in saying that you support Ms. Emily's position and posture on this?
I do. The risk is obviously that the future franchise agreement with Point Broadband doesn't happen to our satisfaction. And this deal is closed out and we're left with little bargaining power in that negotiation. That would be my concern.
As a matter of technicality, they're using our property to host their equipment. So would we still be able to have that kind of control as far as equipment placement or something like that, and be able to use that as a bargaining tool for encouraging an actual franchise agreement?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And in this case, we put $32,500 in the bank.
No, all good. I felt the need to point out that risk, because that's the risk I can identify.
We don't have an agreement. If we do this, if we agree to get paid out, there's nothing on paper. That's the concern. I mean, we are a customer. I mean, we'll have their internet,
Right.
but there is no franchise agreement in place.
Why do we have to keep their internet?
We have been exploring options for quite some time.
Yeah.
We do not want to make a hasty decision in
Sure.
moving NGN or now Point Broadband, because our ultimate goal is to interconnect all of our
Yes.
city buildings.
Yeah.
So we are trying to get there.
Mhm.
We're not there yet, but that is why we have internet that is
Yeah.
supplying what we need. And if we make a transition, if we make that change, we want to do it one time.
We used to have, before this became NGN, it was Appalachian Broadband. And the big focus, that emphasis that they made was, oh yeah, we've got repeaters on City of Baldwin's water tower, and it's line of sight.
I think on the school tower too.
And the school tower, yeah.
Yeah.
So, to your point, Mayor, they do need our facilities to place their equipment. Not that they have a whole, well, it's been a while, but I don't think, at that point, they didn't have a whole lot of customers within line of sight of our towers. That might have changed now, but, you know.
So that everybody understands how much money we're talking about. They presented us with a check at the last meeting, and they remember I placed it in Miss Emily's hand, and it represented 2 years or 2.5 years of franchise fees.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Okay, so a year and some months. It was $200 and how many dollars?
232.
Okay.
Understood.
Yeah, that represents the totality, basically, of the users that use the technology that's placed on our property. From a business standpoint, just from a pure business standpoint, I'm not even certain why they want to continue it themselves.
That would be my concern.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah. So,
it's not worth the liability.
Good point.
We
Okay,
don't have to
as
do
we
anything
As
tonight.
we found out, the network does have some vulnerabilities if tech support gets into the settings.
No, it doesn't. Just, your jokes are horrible. I love you, but can we make a declaration that Mr. Ventur's jokes are really bad?
No, my jokes are great.
Yeah.
But I agree with the mayor. And,
so our choices are, we could ask them for the $32,000 tonight. We could do nothing, wait for a proposal of a new franchise agreement, and then again ask for the $32,500. Or we could do nothing, continue to pay them for our new upgraded internet speed at about $600 plus another $100 and something a month, and not get our $32,500. And at some point, their bean counters are gonna make a decision to potentially shut the system down either way you go. So we could get $32,500 now. We could get $32,500 possibly with a new agreement, or we could never get $32,500. I think those are our three doors.
I think that, asking for a new agreement before we make the decision on that would be prudent.
Now, Donna has stated that they are drafting franchise agreements for the city of Baldwin. She just doesn't have a timeline of when those will be out yet. So she has stated that. I mean, she's a representative of the company.
Is there a
That's
reason
not
why?
to, that's not to persuade
Yeah.
you, but.
Is there a reason why we have to make a decision on this tonight?
They actually wanted us to sign a piece of paper back in November.
No.
This piece of paper.
Right.
So, no, it is not. Okay, so, I'll entertain a motion to postpone this until we're presented with a, new franchise agreement from, Point Broadband Fiber Holding LLC.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. Venture. Can I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Stephanie, are you still with us?
Yes, I said aye.
Oh,
Okay, we didn't hear you.
Didn't hear you, sorry. Okay, so that motion carries unanimously. So that one has actually got a defined time to return, and the defined time of return is when we're presented with a agreement for franchise. Okay. Number 5, consideration and approval of second reading of qualifying fees. Ordinance number 2023-01118.
Would you like me to go through this again? I'm more than
No,
happy
it was
to.
very, and we do this, I mean, I don't,
We're
So-
not changing our qualifying fee. It is $35. We do have 3 positions that, that will be up for, re-election. That is,
November 7th.
yes, November 7th. This, just for those of you who are watching, this ordinance, once it goes up on the website, it gives you all of the information, the positions that are available, your process, when early voting is, when your deadline to register to vote is. So if you are worried or concerned, reach out to us. More than happy to give you this and put you with the information that you need. That will be out there. I believe it's post, correct me if I'm wrong, I skipped over it, post 1, 2, and 3, right? Yes, post 1, 2, and 3, which are currently being held by Larry Llewellyn, Theron Ayers, and Stephanie Almano, respectively. Any questions?
So one technical perspective, and this is for those who are viewing who may be interested in running, we are on a post system, meaning that some of the neighboring communities have an at-large system where, for example, if they're trying to fill 2 seats, you can have 6 people running and the top 2 get the 2 seats, period. In our particular situation, if you're running for post 1 and there's 9 people running for post 1, only one of those 9 people get post 1. And post 2, for example, could be just one person running. So take that into consideration if you're considering serving. We absolutely encourage those that are on the council and up for election to rerun. We also absolutely encourage any of our citizens that qualify to consider serving their city. But just make certain that when it comes time for qualifying, that you understand that small and slight differentiation between us and some of the neighboring communities. I will take that for example. When I ran, there were 6 of us.
Really?
Of course, there was only one post up at the time, but but there was 6 of us. So it can be a strategy involved in that. Yes. All right. Any other details we need to mention? $35 registration fee or qualification fee, managed by Habersham County Board of Electors. Their office will, at or about the time this takes place, will be at the facility at the Ingalls in Cornelia, the furthermost portion of their parking lot. So that will be their southern precinct. Also will actually, I believe, will house the office of electors.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's their plan.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions or concerns, I'll go ahead and read it. All right, so ordinance number 2023-01118. It's an ordinance providing for the 2023 general election for the city of Baldwin, Georgia, to provide for a title for said ordinance, to establish and set the date and the time of the 2023 general election for 3 council seats upon the city council of the city of Baldwin, Georgia, to provide for qualifying fees for said positions, to provide for the opening and closing of the qualified period for said positions, to provide for the appointment of election officials, including the election superintendent, the chief registrar, the absentee ballot clerk, the custodian of voting machines, the chief poll manager, the assistant poll managers, and the deputy registrar, to provide for the last date of voter registration and for other purposes. I submit that as the second reading of ordinance number 2023-01118. I have a motion to approve that reading. I have a motion from Mr. Ayers, and I'll take a second from Dr. Armano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That will be posted for all to view soon. Excellent. All right. So we're moving into new business. Item 6 is consideration approval of public works purchase of dump truck / snowplow.
I'll let Scott tell you about it.
Yes, sometimes. Evening.
Good evening.
Yes, we put this, up before the, council. What this is to purchase a new, medium-duty four-wheel drive dump truck that could be, upfitted with a 9.5 foot snow plow, which is a larger plow than we currently have on our pickup trucks. It's a larger truck, so we can have a larger salt popper on it. And this would allow us this truck here would allow a better response as far as the winter weather, which would allow for doing the main big roads, Willingham, Duncan Bridge, Old 441 down to Hollingsworth, some of the other industrials over here that we do. With this truck here, which would free up the smaller trucks to work the side streets, all the neighborhood streets and stuff, so we could get on them a lot faster to the side streets and get them done. This truck here with a larger blade, and the reason for with 9.6 blade on these is because if it's 10 foot, you can get into a whole new animal with DOT. So this is the largest blade they have that keeps you under that DOT. And then, besides that, then we'd upfit this truck with a plow and then another salt spreader on it, which would just add to the fleet from 3. But then when it's not being used for that, it can be used for everything else as far as pulling the excavator around the ditch roads and to all the equipment trailer, hauling the excavator, things like that. That truck would be good for that as well as clean up and stuff.
How much bigger of a hopper? I tell you what, it was what I rode around with when it snowed that one year. It seems like we would just had to keep going back and unloading those bags of sand and the salt, and they're heavy.
That is,
Yeah.
well, this one here has actually what you do. This is you get a spreader that hooks to the bed itself.
Yeah.
So the whole 6-yard, 7-yard dump body that you put the rock in,
That'd
you
be
just
nice.
tip that bed up a little bit and you go. You don't have to do anything else, which helps out a lot because it is. Those small hoppers going to pickup truck are very efficient. What they're used for. What eats those up is the main roads, because all you're doing basically when you're spreading salt, we mix a mixture of rock salt and pea gravel. And basically all you want to do is you just want to do your hills, your curves, and your intersections. On a flat, straight road, trust people just keep the speed down.
Yeah.
If you don't, intersections good to get intersection if they like to stop when they come to a stoplight.
I think the police department has commented.
Straight drivers,
That's it, and, so it's just a different truck. If you're using that on the main roads, you don't go through as much material, because if you're blading up one side of Willingham Avenue and you turn around and you're blading back, you're not gonna be throwing material, you'll just be blading back off the road, so it goes a lot further like that.
And that wet snow packs up so fast that one day they just were just moving all again, going back to the shop, refilling with the gravel and salt, and then as soon as they'd have something plowed, they'd go back and do something else and come back and it'd be all covered up again, just as much, if not more, wasn't more.
While it's coming down, we do get it. I mean, we don't get snow, like they do in the northern areas of the country, but we do get our fair share here for some reason, and it's nice to be able to. Somebody needs to get out and go to the doctors. They need to get out and go to the grocery store. They get out and get.
Do we do the industrial park also?
We do the big we call big industrial, little industrial.
Yep.
Airport Road, Willingham, Duncan Bridge, which is majority of those are all county roads.
Yes,
but
we do them,
because
right.
the county has the whole northern part of the county where they, they can go up there. We've even been contacted by the state patrol to help out DOT with 441.
Yeah.
When they've been slammed and they're spread thin.
Yeah.
And we've helped them out, and then of course help Bank County out by going down Old 441 to Hollingsworth and back. And we do that mainly not just for the people who live down there, but we have water lines down there. We have PRVs that we have to check on, so it helps us to be able to get down there and back.
So it's not just us that have to go to the grocery stores, but it's also our economic hub over here in the industrial park. Yeah, and then all the other stuff that we help out with.
Gotta get them fire trucks out there.
Oh, and that too. Yeah, yes, thank you, Chief, that's right. So they're for public safety too. Yeah.
Are there any questions about the truck itself?
Well, that's the thing, that first page, you can ignore that page. The one here that has the truck breakdown and everything.
Oh, yes.
You can basically look at that, but you can ignore that's,
Right.
these things here are, probably like fire trucks, they move fast.
Yeah.
And the deals move fast.
Yeah.
That there was actually a misprint. So when you called him and that was their mistake, and it went back up. You know, one of them I called on, it was one of those that was like this, and actually what that was just a cabin chassis. It didn't include the dump body. So
I was
so it's more natural. I put the other one on the council action form. You'll see the prices that are more in line as far as the total cost, the not to exceed cost,
Okay.
and that covers the truck, the plow, the spreader, the lights, not to exceed. That's a total package of everything. And that's all inclusive.
And how do we pay for it?
Well, that's the thing. We've completed all the roads that were on our Banks County T-Spot. We paid every road that was on our list to do,
Yeah.
and the funds that are there to be able to purchase this with those funds.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Boy, what a blessing.
Okay. Are there any concerns? Just represents another one of those needed pieces of equipment that solidify our ability to maintain the roads, many of which are in Banks County. Specifically, he called out the old 441 road, that is 100% in Banks County. A piece of equipment like this is going to be used immensely as part of Banks County, and it's very appropriate to use the Banks County T-Splice to purchase this piece of equipment. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the purchase of a 4x4 dump truck upfitted with the snowplow, salt spreader, emergency lights and such, not to exceed $120,000 and to be purchased through the Banks County T-Splosh first version? Man, everybody wants a motion. I'll take it from Ms. Venture. Motion's from Ms. Venture. Can I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Ayers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Magno, was that an aye from you as well?
With the chorus.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
With a chorus.
All right, perfect. So motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Next item on the agenda is the agenda item that we moved off of consent agenda earlier with an amendment to the agenda. It becomes our new item 7, which is the water. The approval of water treatment plant expenses for raw water pump and filter improvements. And I'm not going to say the number because the reason we moved it off of this is because there's a modification to the number.
That is correct.
Ms. Woodman.
I did not have an opportunity to send you the email on why this is in the consent agenda. Reason number 1 for moving it out. Reason number 2, Fletcher emailed me this afternoon that he wanted us to reconsider the filter improvements based on his most recent reviews. He didn't want to budget it from our current budget. He didn't want to take it from the current budget of maintenance, just because there's a couple other things that he is anticipating. So the request tonight is only to for the raw water pump. For those of you who don't know, one of our pumps went down, and so they need to pull it and look at it, see if it's something that is salvageable, which is our hope that they can fix it, whatever the problem might be, and be able to reinstall that. So the request is for $55,000 to pull that and test it to determine what is wrong with it. So it could be more if it turns out that we have to install a new pump, which is a significantly different cost than that. But that is what we need in order to get that pump pulled now. And that is, yes, ma'am.
$55,000 to pull and test, or pull, test, and repair.
And right, full test with the hopes of repairing it. If they're able to repair it, it will be in that cost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oof, okay.
Yes, if they can, it's different. So the cost to pull it and test it will be significantly lower because we'll have to buy a new one.
Pumps are money, yes.
And we need that one.
Yes, yes.
That one's very big. I will say that the filter improvements that's listed on here is a modification that an improvement that we have to make based on our, filter survey that we completed, a couple of months ago, at the water plant. It's a chemical that we need to purchase to add to that. But I will bring that back before council, with any paperwork.
Okay.
So this money is actually in the budget. The reason it comes to council is because of the amount of the money. It's our purchasing policy requires council approval. So it's not a new spending necessarily. It's an unfortunate spending, but it's not a new spending.
Right.
Any concerns? All right, can I have a motion to approve, the service and maintenance of a raw water pump not to exceed $55,000?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Ventures, can I have a second? Second from Mr. Ayers, keep jumping on. Y'all gonna have to get moving. All in favor? Any opposed?
Mayor, I want to abstain on this one because I think you said something different than I understood. You said this is to purchase a new one, but I thought the $55,000 was to pull, test, and repair, not to purchase one.
I think I said to service.
Oh, okay, I thought you said purchase.
Yes,
Okay.
Service.
I used the word service, I believe. Yeah,
Okay, then I'm an aye, fine.
an aye, yes, okay.
Okay.
And there was no one against, so motion carries unanimously again. By the way, that paid for by the budget of the
Water treatment plant.
water treatment plant. All right, we have met all of our old and new business. We're going to move into executive session tonight. We actually do have executive session.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Chief would like to say something before we go into
Yes.
executive
Just,
session.
I'm sorry, I meant to say it while I was up here earlier, I forgot. But I wanted to remind y'all that ISO's coming Thursday, to August. They'll be here about 9 o'clock in the morning, till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we may be going out and doing some fire flows on some hydrants. Normally they send us the information prior to coming, but he hasn't yet, so he may be planning on doing it while he's here.
And we're hoping for a better ISO rating, I believe, with this inspection.
We hope so.
Please encourage him that we've made a decision to move forward with this apparatus. Which
Yes, I had told him about that situation,
Yes.
and he looked at our trailer, which has all the equipment required by ISO to go on that new truck,
Yes, sir.
and he had asked about the Pierce back here. He asked if it ran, does it move? I said, yes. He said, just have it up here. If your truck ain't here, just have that one up here,
Okay.
and then I'll give you credit for that truck in that one.
Because the ISO rating, when it's placed, it could be 3 to 5 years before a re-establishment, and it's important that we recognize that very soon we will have
Right.
that additional apparatus
Yeah.
outfitted. Okay. I knew you would take care of that. I just wanted to publicly state that we want to make sure that we have that accounted for.
And we'll be making him lunch that day too, so.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, well, I'd like to, so we have 2 items under our executive session. They're listed separately on the agenda, but I'm going to call for a motion to enter executive session, and I'm going to incorporate them both in the same motion. Is that okay? All right, so can I have a motion to close the regular session and to move into an executive session pursuant to OCGA, you got a whole bunch of stuff, for the purpose of discussion of land acquisition and litigation.
So moved.
A motion from Ms. Pitzer, can I have a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Llewellyn, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Monyo, did you say aye on that one too?
I did.
I'm so sorry, I cannot hear you, but I appreciate that support. So we're going to move into executive session. We should return relatively soon. Dr. Amanya will stay on the line with us, but she will actually be in executive session. And our attorney will be with us, because there is litigation.